Welcome to this week's Dream Card judging video here at BOTB. We'd now like to hand over to today's lawyer from Onside Law who'll oversee the proceedings.
My name's Robin Cumming from Onside Law and I'll be overseeing judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditors as is. I would now like today's judges to introduce themselves and using the secure link provided, mark on the screen where they think the centre of the ball should be. The group will then come to a final panel decision.
Good morning, my name is Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer.
Good morning, my name is Andy Brathwaite and I'm a football referee, mentor and licensed observer.
I'm Nigel Hicks. I'm an experienced match official and a football administrator.
Good morning, my name's Hugh Gilroy. I'm a referee, a mentor, tutor and observer.
Good morning, my name is Leo Donnellan. I'm an ex-professional football player, having been with Chelsea, Fulham and Leyton Orient.
Hi, my name is Eric Mendonca. I've been involved in football for over 30 years, firstly as a player and then as a referee.
My name is Chloe Morgan and I'm goalkeeper for Crystal Palace Women.
My name's Liam Walsh. I'm a retired referee, currently an FA observer and head coach for the Middlesex Referees Academy.
Hi, my name's Matthew Ray. I've affiliated in multiple counties across England and have refereed from grassroots through to professional academies.
Hi, my name's Renee Hector and I play football for Watford FC Women and I'm a coach for Tottenham Hotspur Foundation.
Judges, please now come to a final panel decision. For your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 10 individual selections.
Thanks very much, Robin. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Matt.
So we've got quite a big spread right to left, and we've got not so much of a spread coming across. My thoughts was the player in black and red was looking across and he's looking slightly up, as I think most of us agree with. And I thought the player in white was looking up towards the ball. And personally, I thought the ball was imminently coming into him, but it's in the foreground. So it's not sort of on top of him. It's exponentially a bit further in front. But let me draw some lines. I'm going to have a good debate, I think, about this. So from this guy's eyes here, we've got two good eyes going up here, really through three judges. And then I'll take this guy's eye, which is to mine, which is the lowest by quite a bit. And then from the white player's eyes, we've got a spread going this way. Oh, big one. Use. So as I said, that's my thoughts on how the picture was going. If I highlight my own there, that's where I thought the centre of the ball was with it in front of the player in white, and he's sort of just slightly tilting his head, looking in that direction. But yes, Andy, I'll come to you first. Yours is the green cross there. You're the furthest to the left as we're looking at it, only just. But how did you see what was happening in the shot?
Thanks, Matt. My particular take on this photo is the guy in white. I think it's a little bit further back. I don't think it is imminent to him. I just think that he's got that fixed stare. He's looking into the distance, as it were, into the 3D of the picture, as we're only seeing it 2D. The guy in red and black has flicked his head sideways to his left and glancing at the ball, quite rightfully saying that he is looking quite sharply up. But I just feel that with the ball in the foreground, the centre of my ball is where I've placed it there.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. And then, Kieran, you're just down there below Andy's. Do you see it differently, or do you concur?
Yeah, no, I felt quite similarly to you.
Sorry,
that's all right. No, I felt quite similarly to yourself, Matt, in the way the ball was sort of in the foreground and sort of maybe bounced in front of both players. I took it as being sort of fairly central between the players, and they both looked to be sort of in the same sort of perception or the same kind of depth as each other. There's no one that's particularly fuzzy. They're both sort of clear shots, so I took that they were sort of maybe arm in arm, sort of racing towards the ball in front of them. So that's why I felt that the position fairly equal between them, but I did feel that the white player perhaps had the advantage in just the fact that his body language was going forwards, whereas the red player was sort of coming across. So his direction towards the ball was probably a little bit more complicated than the white player. But yeah, again, I think I felt quite similarly in the eye line of the majority of the judges seemed to be sort of in a quite tight scope sort of for the red and black player, and with the white player similarly, I just felt that he was looking more directly across sort of towards my left hand side of the photo.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Chloe. And there we have, that's you, Leo, there. You're just to the right of Andy's. How did you see this?
Yeah, hi, Matt.
Right.
Yeah, I went on their body language. So I think the player in red and black, to me, it looks like he's sort of on the move for a ball that's kind of coming over his shoulder. So I think he's read the play better than the player in white, who he's very close to him, but I think he's more on his heels. He's a bit more flat-footed. I also went a little bit higher than everybody else because I think the player in red and black, for me, he's definitely looking quite high. The player in white, I think he's looking in front of him. But as I said, for me, disagreeing with everybody a little bit, but I think the player in red and black is going to get onto this ball.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you could say it by he looks more of a positive attitude in his face.
Yeah.
He looks a bit more like he's sort of keen to get the ball. I know what you mean. So that's great. And you're not really higher than anybody else. I mean, you've got three of you in line. And Hugh, I'll go to you. You're in line, but the highest up. How did you see what's happening?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Leo said, to be honest. For me, the player in red and black is looking steeply, both from how much of the whites of his eyes you can see, but also from looking at both pupils. Yeah, for me, that's looking up, as is that one. And I felt the player in white was in the background slightly. And so for me, I could just see his head shape and his eyes looking straight ahead of him, and the ball coming over. I agree. I think it's going to go to the player in red and black, but him just sort of looking at it as it's going to go past him. So I felt it was just looking straight up almost, but it's ahead of him, if that makes sense, because he's behind it.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. And there you are, Liam. That's your pink cross. You're just sort of getting towards the average and I'll call it a main cluster there. There you are. How did you see this?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Matt. I took a lot of evidence from the guy in red and black. And as you just alluded to, his eyes were, I felt that his head's turned at, I've worked on angles here, head's turned at 45 degrees and his eyes are looking quite steeply as well for me. And that's what's given me that angle there. And then with the guy in white, I felt he was just, as I look, you can see him, his body shape's lovely, he's all nice, but his head's just turned to his right, but he's looking in front of him and up. And that's my evidence. I kept it quite simple. Didn't try to overthink it, and that's where I am.
Great, thank you very much. And Ari, you're just there. Your purple cross. How have you seen the picture and what's happening?
Thanks, Matt. Well, I agree 100% with Leo analysis of this picture. I felt the player in red is on the move. He's the one who, I believe he's going to play the ball. Player in white is flat-footed, but the ball seems to be closer to him. But I think it's just the way the picture is. He's looking slightly. A ball is in front of him. He's looking slightly to his right, and I just went with the angles of the eye lines and decided that it should be there. But I truly believe the player in red is the one who's going to play this one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as you quite rightly said, I mean, you use the word flat-footed. It looks like he is. He's just waiting for the ball, and this player, I think, as a couple of us said, is going to come across and sort of nick the ball off him. Okay, thank you very much. And Nigel, there you are, yellow, just in between myself and the average. How did you see this?
I take very similar to the judges around me. I take Liam's point that the player in white, his head is at a very slight angle, so he's not looking straight at us. He's looking slightly diagonally, and so I offset my cross, taking that into account. I don't think his eyes are looking at a fixed point. They seem to be looking in parallel. So I was looking for somewhere in between the two eye lines of the player in white as it goes. Whereas I think the player in red, both his eyes are pretty much pointed in the same direction, looking across.
Great, thank you. And Rennie, you're just here, the pink cross just below the average. I'll highlight yours. How have you seen this?
Yeah, I think pretty similarly to Leo. I do think that the player in black and red looks a bit more lively and ready to get onto the ball. I do think that he's actually in front of the white player, almost closer to us as well. And I got the height from the player in black and red's eyes. I feel like it's a relatively flat ball because I feel like he's moving by his body shape. He looks like he's moving at quite a bit of pace. And then I just cross-reference that with the guy in white. Obviously, I feel like he's clearly looking out in front of him, but slightly to his right.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much. And last, Matthew, there you are, the lime green cross, just sort of in the middle of this, I call it a main cluster, but you're in the middle. Have you seen it any differently?
No, if I'm honest, no. I can't really tell actually what's happened with the ball here. The good news is we've got two good pairs of eyes, I think, to go off. So for me, just focusing on that player in white, even though his body's facing us, I think his head's tilted slightly to his right, and particularly his right eye is looking that little bit further right than his left eye. So I've almost taken an average between those two eyes and popped it in the middle.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so we obviously have got a bit of a spread. I'm going to remove Hugh because Hugh's furthest to the right as a lead judge. And then I'm going to redraw a line up from this player. And I think also we're conscious that this ball is in the foreground, so it's in front of the player in white. So this gives us this calculated average. I'll also remove my own one because I think it slews it. I'm a bit sort of further away from the other choices, and I'm going to have to again redraw a few lines to get rid of that one. And then I will draw up again from this player. So I think the majority of the choices, I would include Hugh in this, although I have removed him, is it makes this band quite narrow. Again, I'll redraw this player up through. Chloe's there, and up through here, up towards Liam. And although there is a spread right to left, personally, I think that the calculated average here works with the photograph and gives a little bit more perspective in the fact that the ball is in the foreground a bit more. So what I'd like people to debate, I don't think it's right to then remove Liam's and then Chloe's again, because there's a big enough spread right to left. But I think the players of the competition will hopefully understand the way we're looking at this with the ball in the foreground, and then with the two sets of eyes, as Matthew's pointed out, we've got four good eyes. The cross-reference of where the calculated average is actually pretty good. But I will go through, so this is not really a vote because I've removed myself and Hugh, but I'd like further debate about whether any of you judges want to see other people's is removed to see how it looks on the photograph. So I'll go through Andy first.
Thanks, Matt. Can you just pop the magnifier over the average across again, please? Okay. Personally, I'm happy with that. Looking if that's the ball, the centre of the ball, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, thank you. Nigel?
Yeah, same. I'm happy with that. I think the ball's in a very credible position there.
Yeah, thank you. Hugh, I know I've removed you, but I still value your thoughts. As I said, you're in the line of the couple of people across the top, but further away.
Yeah, personally, I would like to see it higher, but I guess the two, is it Andy and Leo's, are balanced by Renee and Matthew. So I guess those two balance. But personally, I think that the player in red and black is looking higher, more along the line of Leo, Andy, and maybe even Liam, that height.
Yeah, it's interesting because going across from the red and black players' eyes, there's really Leo and Andy's above it, and then Nigel and Renee's below it, and then the rest of them are pretty much in line with this calculated average. It's partly why I removed myself, because it does slew it a bit down, which would take into a little bit sort of too far to one side. But thank you.
Yeah, that's my point. It's balanced. So exactly. I think it should be higher, but with who we've got in, I think it's a good average.
Yeah, thanks, Leo.
Yeah, I think it's very credible. I think the height of the ball is important, Matt, and I think the height is good with the average.
Yeah, thank you. Ari?
As I was saying, due to the spread of the cluster, I feel that the cross, the way it is, the average, it works well.
Great, thank you very much. Chloe?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a good balance now, especially I think it sort of brought it sort of narrowly into line with the red and black player. That's sort of quite a narrow band now. And I think there was always maybe going to be some discrepancy about how, or the extent to which it was in the foreground from the sort of wider spread from the white player. So I think the crosses as they are between sort of mine and whose is that, Liam's, I think, just on the other side of that, I think makes a good balance.
Yeah, thank you. And that's an important point, Chloe, that the players of the competition need to understand that it's in the foreground. So although it looks like it's a spread right to left, actually, once it was spun round, it's actually quite close, I believe. I've always said that. Thank you. Liam?
Yes, I agree with what you're saying, the fellow judges. One thing I will say to you, Matt, I think you've possibly been a bit harsh on yourself this morning, taking yourself out, because if you put yourself back in, you end up with them three groups of three, you could say. Yeah, and if you centered on those three groups, each position is credible. It's just a point. But sure. I'll go with the guys and go with your lead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I put myself back in, and you can see I'm still popping out the bottom, and there's no one really above the calculated average, and that was my sort of thought process.
Okay.
By removing myself, actually, there's no one. If we look at the magnifiers, the outer ring of the magnifiers is outside the area, looking up from the red and black player. And I think the majority of you were thinking it was slightly higher than mine. So I think it was fair to remove myself. But thank you for that. And Matthew?
Could I ask if you could draw a line from between the white player's two eyes and through the white cross? Because I'm interested just to make sure the balance is right, left to right. So we've got four crosses sort of in that left-hand quadrant and four on the right. So yeah, that's good balance for me. I'm happy with where that is.
Great, thank you. And lastly, Renee.
Yeah, I'm really happy with where that average is. And obviously, if you start removing people who are popping out, then we have less than half the judges left in the middle of the average. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Great, thank you very much indeed. Okay, Robin, after a really good discussion, we decided to judge with the calculated average with myself removing myself and Hughes.
Thanks, Matt. If you're all happy, then please click submit. Thank you, judges. The coordinates selected are 27131139. These coordinates will now be passed to the auditors as to calculate the winner of the competition. They will then inform BOTB. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.